Well, thank you all for gathering this morning. I'd also like to offer my special thanks to trustees who have traveled from across the country to be with us as well. And very special thanks to our special guests, Kelli and Allen Questrom, who are sitting in the front row. And for reasons that will become apparent in minutes, they are our honored guests this morning. Allen is, as everyone in this room knows, one of the most distinguished graduates of the School of Management of Boston University. He's an icon in the retail business world. He built his early career at Federated Department Stores and is an inspired and inspiring author of multiple turnarounds, including JCPenney's and Barneys. With the characteristic ebb and flow of buyouts and takeovers in the retail world, Allen has rescued the same firm more than once, which I have to think is both gratifying and frustrating at the same time. Allen is recognized and admired for his ethical leadership and his unyielding commitment to excellence, a commitment that yields results for shareholders. Kelli and Allen Questrom met at Abram and Strauss in New York. They have been wonderful, mutually supported partners in their retail work lives and in their many charitable endeavors. Kelli, who studied retailing in journalism college, has been a fashion editor and marketing executive. Universities are among the oldest institutions established by man. Universities founded in the 11th century are still with us. Boston University is not that old. We trace our founding back to the formation of the School of Theology in 1839, the date on the pink granite stone you see as you emerge from Kenmore Square westbound. Our job, our mission, is to look well beyond the horizon, educating future generations of leaders, preserving, creating, and transmitting knowledge that will serve future generations. Because we're configured for longevity, our timescales are long. We change and evolve slowly. Some would say too slowly. But there are times in a university's history when the pace accelerates because of circumstances and the choices and commitments we make. Boston University has been in a period of accelerated evolution for more than a quarter century as we built the Charles River campus and transformed the university into a residential private research university that now competes with the very best institutions in the country and the world. Today will be remembered as a great milestone in this transformation, both for the School of Management and for Boston University. Today, we announce that Allen and Kelli Questrom have made a magnificent commitment of $50 million to the School of Management. In recognition of this generosity and of Allen and Kelli's commitment to the school and the university, the trustees have authorized the university to name the School of Management the Questrom School of Business. This name is effective immediately. We can watch this transformation in real time from the comfort of our seats outside of the snow. Because of Kelli and Allen's extraordinary, oh, is it happening? Yes. Because of Kelli and Allen's extraordinary generosity, we We'll have new resources with which to accelerate our efforts to enhance the quality of the Questrom School of Business and magnify the recognition of its educational programs and the research performed by its faculty and students. We focus our efforts on attracting the most talented students and faculty, on offering a rigorous education for undergraduate and graduate students, on helping those students launch their careers. Allen Questrom can tell you just how important the advice and engagement of a faculty member can be in launching a career at a critical time. We also, through scholarship and research, develop new knowledge that adds value to a business and consequently adds value to society. As is true of any program at a major research university, a great business school is built on the foundation of a great faculty. Because of the Questrom's generosity, we will add a total of 10 endowed professorships across the school. These professorships, each bearing the Questrom name, will help us recruit and retain outstanding faculty members who will strengthen our foundation across the management disciplines, from accounting and finance to information systems and marketing, and from behavioral, organizational behavior to law to operations, management, and strategy and innovation. And at the same time, help us build pillars of excellence in strategically important new areas. The future for Questrom, the new SMG, is wonderfully bright. Kelli and Allen, thank you for your faith in us and for giving your distinctive name to the Questrom School of Business. It's now my pleasure to call on the chairman of the Boston University Board of Trustees, Bob Knox, a 1975 graduate of the school, to provide the perspective of a trustee and alumnus. Bob?
Wow, I gotta adjust these. I just checked with Todd, and he told me I could do this. By the power vested in me as chairman of the board of Boston University Trustees, I henceforth decree and declare that the last Monday in March is Allen and Kelli Questrom Day. I thought that was cool. Happy Questrom Day. Now, I knew my degrees were appreciating in value. I'm a business guy, an investment guy, so I think about degrees as stock certificates. And I knew they were appreciating in value under the extraordinary leadership of Bob Brown. But I could never have anticipated this wonderful windfall bestowed by Allen and Kelli Questrom. Now I have a Questrom MBA, and that's a really very valuable degree, and I'm damn proud of it. And I'm sure all the current and future alumni of this great school will be equally grateful and proud to have earned their degrees at the Questrom School of Business. Over the last decade, two events have been catalytic in the transformation of Boston universities, and these events are marked by 10-year bookends. The first event was hiring Bob Brown as our president in 2005. And the second event is this spectacular celebration today, the magnificent naming gift of the Questrom School of Business and the supporting generosity of Allen and Kelli Questrom. The second would not have happened without the first, and I believe both will be heralded as historic milestone events in the remarkable metamorphosis of Boston University into a great research and teaching institution. In addition to the immediate and immense impact on our capital campaign, Allen and Kelli's monumental goodwill and commitment will serve as a powerful inspiration for all of our alumni to give back to the university that made a difference in their lives. And we really could not have better role models than Allen and Kelli. Allen and Kelli, there is no way to overstate the significance of your gift and the gratitude of the alumni, students, faculty, and staff for your dedication, love, and support for business education and for Boston University. The entire BU family thanks you both, and we thank you over 50 million times. You guys are absolutely the best. Now it's my job to introduce our next speaker. I should tell you that the last time Ken Freeman introduced me, it was on a stage in Beijing in front of Questrom alumni. And he called on me to come up on the stage and sing Clarissima. So now, Ken, it's payback though. But no, I can't do that, not on Questrom Day. So it's my great pleasure to introduce, for the very first time, Ken Freeman, the Dean of the Questrom School of Business.
Well, you'll be happy to know that we won't sing Clarissima this morning, Bob, despite your desire for us to do so. Thank you, Chairman Knox. This is indeed an exciting and wonderful moment in the life of your school. Let me begin by adding my voice to those who've thanked the Questroms for their magnificent generosity. Allen and Kelli, the list of those expressing gratitude to both of you is going to get longer and longer in the days, weeks, and months ahead. And it's going to further expand in the years to come as well as generations of faculty, students, and alumni at the Questrom School of Business come to understand and appreciate your gifts' very full impact. Before I go any further, please join me, and I'd like to acknowledge three individuals. First, an individual who fell prey to JetBlue this morning as they had a system shut down. Lula Tafe, class of 1961, was my predecessor as the dean at the School of Management, and he worked tirelessly for 19 years to help it grow and rise in reputation. And of import this morning, he was also named the very first Allen Questrom professor and dean in 2007. Now our Dean Emeritus, Lou had every intention of joining us at the ceremony. He'll be here later this morning to express his gratitude to you, Allen and Kelli, in person. We should also acknowledge our two Questrom professors in management appointed last year. Karen Golden-Biddle, Professor of Organizational Behavior and Senior Associate Dean of the School, and Susan Fournier, Professor of Marketing and MBA Program Director. Karen and Susan, would you please rise and be recognized? Now, I'm sure that many of you are starting to detect a pattern here. The Questroms have been strong and steadfast supporters of our school and Boston University for many years. The gift that President Brown has just announced dramatically extends that very proud tradition. At the same time, the Questroms' gift needs to be seen in an entirely new light. The word transformational is often overused in business circles and in academia. It should be reserved for very special occasions, like this one, where, as a result of someone's vision and generosity, the future will be very different than the past. That's what this gift is all about. Our school is one of the oldest providing business education in the entire world. During our 101-year history, our school has had only two names. We were the College of Business Administration for the school's first 61 years. Then in 1974, after what our resident historian, Professor Jim Post, has described in the recently published Centennial History of the school as a quote-unquote bruising battle, we became known as the School of Management, or SMG. Today, some 40 years later, we are bestowed with our third and final name, or as I see it, our first real name. And what a great name it is. From this day forward, forever, we are the Boston University Questrom School of Business. Now, I have to issue a warning here. Today, I'm launching a personal crusade to ensure that we never again shrink into a three-letter acronym. No CBA, no SMG, no abbreviations, please, no small thinking, no cheapening of the brand. We are the Questrom School of Business, or Questrom for short. We will wear the name Questrom very proudly, and we'll wear it very comfortably as well. Why? Because the traditions that Allen and Kelli embody track so very closely with what this place is all about. The first dean of our school, Everett Lord, created a code of ethics that was distributed to students and presented with great ceremony on graduation day. Here it is in its entirety. We believe in truth, the only foundation of success; in service, the motive of business; in the golden rule, the unchanging standard of conduct; and in the consciousness of service performed, the sufficient reward of endeavor. Truth, service, the golden rule, giving back to make a difference. These attributes embody what the Questroms stand for in their professional and their private lives, as demonstrated through Allen's remarkable career and through Allen and Kelli's numerous contributions to the community. We share Dean Lord's code with our students today as the now Questrom School of Business business creed, and we are very well prepared to become the Questrom School in name and in spirit. Now, quite simply, Questrom means business. That is probably the nicest $50 million t-shirt you've ever received. Holy cow. Questrom means business and so much more. Questrom means thinking dynamically. Questrom means leading with heart. Questrom means daring convention. Questrom means considering the world. You get the idea. One last thought, if I may. If you survey the current literature about speechifying, two pieces of advice come through loud and clear. The first is, if you cannot tell a joke well, don't do it. You'll be very pleased to know that I take this piece of advice to heart this morning. Now, the second piece of advice is no sports metaphors. In this instance, I simply cannot resist sharing one today. If there'd been a draft to select business school names, and we at Boston University had the privilege of receiving the #1 draft pick, do you know which name we would have picked? It's quite obvious. We would have picked Questrom, Boston University Questrom School of Business, today and forevermore. Allen and Kelli, thank you for your support in word and deed as we continue our relentless drive at the Questrom School of Business to become one of the elite business schools of the world. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
May I ask Allen and Kelli to come to the stage, please, with Bob.
Oops.
Allen, the podium is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very nice to be here.
Best shopping spree I've ever been on.
You know, it's I think I'm probably the oldest person in the room here. That's why I was hoping Lou was going to be here, because he would have been a little older. But it's serendipity for sure, because it was 50 years ago. And 50 years ago, I was on my last semester at BU, and I had taken an elective course in retailing in those days, and it was taught by a professor called Professor Beckworth. And I can see Allen's face today. He was a very, very passionate professor who communicated to his students in a way that they saw a different light. And he loved every one of his students. I remember years after I had left, and I'd come back to school, and I'd see people who was in his class, and they would talk about him. And Allen was very much convinced I needed to go into the retail business. And he said to me, "You've got to go into the retail business, and I'm going to set up some appointments for you." And I says, "Allen," I didn't call him Allen, I call him Professor Beckworth, "I'm going up to the mountains. I'm going to be a ski instructor." So I left, took the summer off, and up to the mountains I went. But interestingly, this doesn't happen very often. I'm back for the holidays at Christmas. No snow in Vermont. It's now the middle of January. No snow. I get a call from Mr. Beckworth. He says, "Alan, what are you doing?" Well, I said, "I'm going to be a ski instructor." "Well, how can you be a ski instructor when there's no snow?" So he says, I'm going to do something. An hour later, he calls me up, and he says, "I've made 3 appointments for you, 1 in Boston and 2 in New York." Short story, I ended up going into the retail business. But if it was 50 years later and I was starting today, I probably would have a different 50-year history. I'd be up in the mountains still skiing. But fortunately for me, I got a buy one, get one free. So I ended up going to start in retailing. And so and behold, within a few months, there was a girl, a very attractive girl, working in the same store, and we became friendly. And now, almost 50 years later, we're still friendly, and she's my wife.
Really friendly.
That's right. And so together, we have really had a wonderful life. Retailing has provided that. She's provided a lot of backstop for me. And we've had a wonderful, wonderful career. And I can tell you that if I had to choose between now what I know and being a ski instructor and being in the business of retailing, there couldn't have been a better sport to take on, was retailing. And so it is, we feel, quite frankly, because of our successes, and we've had a few ups and downs in business, as all of us do, but we feel very, very blessed to play a role in building a great future for this school. Kelli and I hope and believe that with our gift and careful use for that money, the school will continue its journey on becoming the leading business school in the world. And the second part is, why do we give here? Not only because of Allen Beckworth, who really got me started in the retail career, but because of the leadership at Boston University. I have become very, very fond of Bob, President Brown. He is one of the finest presidents of university life in the world. And it's a very unique and very difficult job. I would not want that job in my career. But because of what he brings to this university and his vision for this university, and one can see where it's going to go in the long run. People like to invest in things that they believe are going to have a great future. And so Kelli and I have spent much time thinking about that, and our ability also to work with people like Dean Freeman. These are the things that make us want to continue to support this great institution. And so that we know this will not be something that people remember exactly 50 or 60 years from now or a century from now, but we really believe that we are humbled and proud to be a part of something that will continue to make this a great university. Thank you.
You know, I never get tired of hearing Allen's stories, and I must tell you, Professor Beckwith comes up all the time. And it's because Allen is a human being who's never, ever forgotten to be gracious and generous to those who helped him get where he is, and full of generosity to those who want to come up the way he did. And so he spends a lot of time mentoring. He has a very long list of very successful people in the retail and other worlds that he spent a lot of time encouraging to come into retailing and moving them from job to job. So I happened to be his second turnaround. His first turnaround was himself. I mean, if you're going to go from being a ski instructor to the CEO of a small retail company and then larger ones and larger ones, and you take on bigger and bigger problems. For skiers, the problem is you can't ski all year round as you have nothing to do the rest of the year. That wouldn't work for Allen. But I was his second turnaround, and there is a big coincidence about how we met. And that was that he had his Professor Beckwith, and I also had a professor. I was a journalism major and also retailing, coming from a family of a dominant father and a mother who had no sense of independence whatever, full-blooded Cherokee Indian, who unfortunately women's lib didn't come along early enough for her. And so I wanted a career. I absolutely knew I wanted to be an independent woman who could think for herself and pay my own way. And I had a professor who, without even telling me, entered my name in a competition to join the Abraham & Straus Junior Executive Training Squad. And that was for young people between their junior and senior years who might have an interest in retailing, and A&S being the very enterprising business that it was and a leader in training in the retail world, decided they were going to capture those juniors before they went out and interviewed other industries. And they captured me, for sure. They offered me a job at the end of the training squad, early September. I went back to school and finished my senior year knowing that I'd been offered the job of Director of Youth Marketing. That's high school, college kids, and young mothers, and young first career men. So it wasn't just a training squad job. Before Allen had a real job, I had a real job. And I was earning more than he was. Unfortunately. Yeah. And 4 years younger, but there was no glass ceiling. There was no glass ceiling there, and we are very proud to say that he and I have been a part of making sure there's no glass ceiling for men or women, or for people of different cultures. We're working on that, and we're getting there in our country. But I have to tell you, one of the big animations in our life is a graphic that sits in our kitchen for however many, 5, maybe the last 5 houses and the last 5 moves. And it is the opening line spoken by Patti Smith, the actress Patti Smith, in her film, an old film called Dream of Life. And in it, she says, "Life is an adventure of one's own design, interpreted and interrupted by fate, and in a series of lucky and unlucky accidents." So this statement coming from an old film is absolutely our life. We did design what we wanted. In other words, we had choices to make, and we made choices. Not all of them the best choices, but most of them very good choices. And then, of course, fate comes along, like my being sent to Abraham & Straus on a fluke, a complete fluke, and Allen not having the snow to go skiing. Those are accidents, lucky accidents. So I don't ever get tired of talking about Allen's and my career together. And we know for sure that we've been more successful as a couple than either one of us ever would have been alone. So we're pleased to stand here as a couple.
Good team.
Totally devoted to each other, totally devoted to this university that gave Allen his start in life, and his trusteeship over many, many years, in which we have come to see that the faith we have in Boston University, and now the Questrom School of Management.
School of Business. Better get it right.
Yeah, business. We're
better
not,
get it
that's
right.
right. No, not management anymore, but we're business. Okay.
Okay.
We absolutely have total faith in the leadership of this university and the Questrom School of Business. And we're absolutely proud to stand here before you as your servants. Thank you.
While everybody's standing up, I'll ask Bob Knox to take off the magic wrapper. This is, please, Bob. This is the full-page ad you'll see tomorrow morning in a number of newspapers around the country. Thank you again, Alan.
Very much.
Kelli.